Alright, this is Danhouse here, very nice for evil. You are watching True Heel Heat. Probably should have had MJF do this, but here we are.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3, and we are back again, this time doing a movie review, a classic movie review, where we are going to be discussing and breaking down Scream, the original Scream from 1996. And to do that, I am joined by one of my esteemed colleagues. He is the man that I usually review movies with. The last time that we reviewed a movie was Fantastic Four last summer, and now we are back to review a classic. He is the one and only co-host of True Picks, the StatKing. John, how are you doing?
Let me see if I can pull this off. Hello, Sidney.
Very well done.
Fit, right? Like it fit.
Yes. My missus did that this morning. She saw me watching. She comes in. She's like, "Hello, Sidney." very.
But well. I'm doing great. Had a blast rewatching this and ready to talk about it because this is you know me. I'm not big on horror movies, and this like fits exactly like what I look for in horror movies or what I like in horror movies. So it's a perfect franchise for someone like me.
So when did you first watch Scream?
So this is interesting actually, because the first Scream movie I saw was actually Scream 3. I didn't see the first two when they.
You know what's funny enough? That's the same thing for me, because I think Scream 3 was when maybe I forget what year it came out, but I remember we
would have been around like I think 10, 11 when Scream 3 came out. Because the first one's 96, so we would have been like 7 or 8.
Yeah, I was 8 in 96. I did not watch this one. I did not watch the second one. I remember vividly watching the third one because they had it on. I had a legal cable at the time, and they had it on pay-per-view. They had it on pay-per-view at the time, and I watched it on pay-per-view for the first time. And I watched it a few times, and I was like, "Oh, this is not that scary. This is not that scary." And then, and then I would watch the original Scream, and I was like, "Okay, this is actually scary."
I see what you were going for. See what it morphed into. All right.
But yes, I watched Scream 3 first, and then it took me like a couple of years later before I watched Scream 1 and Scream 2. I didn't watch Scream 4 when it first came out either. It took me like a couple of years to watch Scream 4. Like the two that I did watch like immediately, or like by the time it got onto streaming service, was Scream 5 and Scream 6.
Yeah, same. I think. Yeah, because by the time those were coming out, I wasn't sure. I'm with Colleen at that point, and I'm not sure. Like, she hates horror movies even more than I do. So I was like, I don't think this is gonna be. I was like, I know, but like I got to start her from the beginning. So then eventually I said, you know what? Now that they're on streaming, you can watch it in the house. She'll be less, because so we are anticipating Scream 7, where I'm going with this, and I'm saying we're gonna see it in theaters, and she's. You know my wife, like she's like, wait a minute, this is a completely different scenario. Like, I don't know what's going on. And then she said, didn't Jada Pinkett Smith die in the movie theater watching the Stab movie? And I'm like, yeah, but you're not Jada Pinkett Smith, you'll be fine.
He's like, I'm not gonna go to the bathroom when the film starts. That's gonna be the key, and I'm not gonna put my head towards the stall.
I appreciated her thinking that I was Omar Epps in this situation. Like, I was like, okay.
Oh, that's sweet. Look at that. You are Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett in all of our hearts.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
Before we get into things, of course, as always, remember to drop the thumbs up on the video. You can share this with your Scream fans, family, and friends on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. This is just the start. We are gearing you up for Scream 7, as we're going to review Scream 1, Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, Scream 5, and Scream 6. And of course, course, after we both see Scream 7, we will review that as well. So you'll have the complete collection of Scream reviews here on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment. I was very happy when StatKing told me that he was a Scream fan as well, because this is my favorite horror series. Like this is the only horror series that I've watched in completion. Like I've seen a couple of Halloween movies, a couple of Freddy movies and stuff like that, Nightmare on Elm Street, stuff like that, but I've never watched like the full stuff with that. I watched a couple I was into like Saw when Saw 3 and 4 came out. I actually went to the theater and saw those, and I've seen like Saw 1, but I haven't seen Saw 2, and I haven't seen any of the later Saws. This is the one series that I've watched every single one of these movies.
Yeah, because like, so for me, excessive gore, it's just like it's just kind of the same thing in action movies when car chases start or like fight scenes start. Like I mentally check out because I'm just like, okay, yes, you're able to learn choreography or you're able to use CGI and pull off great stunts. I appreciate the fact that you can do both of those, but I care more about character development, so I really don't care about when I'm watching Fast and Furious, which is a hilarious thing to think about. I sometimes fast forward through the car chase scenes, which is technically speaking what you're watching the movie for. But this has, so like most horror movies, not interested in. Like I saw the first Saw, I was like, this is great from like the psychological standpoint of what it means to be grateful for whatever you do have in life. And then saw the trailer for the second one, and I was like, oh, it's devolving into torture porn, and that's not really for me. And then the other side of it is just like, usually it's like religious stuff, and with my family background, I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch all that. So that's what I'm saying. Like Scream fits like the perfect, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, and more importantly, it is a wonderful commentary on all the other horror movies, which I think is something that brings such a level of uniqueness to it that it's so good.
I think the thing that really got my love for Scream is actually, funny enough, Scary Movie, because I loved Scary Movie growing up. That's really what inspired me to be like, oh, okay, I can watch this. Like that's when I saw Scary Movie first, and then I saw Scream 3, and then I was like, yeah, I can watch this. This is fine. This is not like, I'm not the biggest horror fan, but I can get into meta commentary on a genre like Scream is.
You would think, I mean, maybe not for the reboot, because the reboot was going like a little bit on the more like updated serious sides, but like maybe down the road, like when they get to Scream 8, you'd think they'd get like one or both of the Wayans. Like how interesting would that be?
Yeah, that would be dope. That would be dope. I wonder what they're gonna do, because they're bringing back Scary Movie, and the Wayans are responsible for it. So maybe they can get someone from the Scream series to actually play in the Scary Movie.
They just have Melissa Barrera just like walk through a frame.
Yes, yeah.
And she's
because
like,
she's not a part of Scream anymore.
She looks around. She just looks around. She's like, I thought I left all this behind, and then she just walks off.
That would be perfect. Oh my god, that would be that. If you go to the movie theater for that and they have that scene, that's gonna get the biggest pop of the whole entire movie. If they,
I might applaud more than I did when Cap lived in Mjolnir.
Very well done. Yes. So we're not going to do this as we standardly do, like we do with most movie reviews. We're not going to go scene by scene or anything like that. We're just going to kind of talk about in general, but we will start with the first scene, because I think the sublime choice of casting Drew Barrymore and making her kind of like the cover artist, the lead star, the biggest name on the cast, and killing her in the first scene is one of the most exceptional ways to start a horror franchise that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, what I thought was interesting is, and sometimes I do this when I'm rewatching movies that I've seen multiple times, is I'll go on IMDb and I'll look up the trivia. She was originally casted as Sidney Prescott. Yeah. And so she was Drew Barrymore's idea to say, what if I just died in the beginning? And Wes Craven, of horror fame, was like, this sounds amazing. And so they just were like, all right, we got to recast Sidney Prescott. And Neve Campbell's like, I'm right here. I'll do it. And but to your point, they keep Drew Barrymore as a listed person, easily the most famous person at the time. in the movie, and it does create for what the movie was and for what it would become. The idea of anybody can die at any point in time really is a phenomenal choice for a movie franchise that it sort of is going to be a larger commentary on movies themselves. So I thought that was like, that opening scene is just so good. And then also when you're rewatching it, there's little things like you don't maybe not pick up on at first, or when, like, if you were younger watching it for the first time, the idea that Ghostface goes after the vocal cords. She can't cry out to the mom. Like, and there's little things too. Like there's a wide shot early in the when she's looking out the window, trying to figure out like who's on the phone with her and everything, and you can actually see the rope hanging in the tree, and it's like,
and you see,
like, there's
you
little
also when you look back on it, when she's with the patios behind her, you could see her boyfriend in like the images outside the window, even before she turns on the patio light. Like, this was such a well done like opening scene. I love the little details of who is Ghostface at the time.
You're right,
because it's Billy who kills her, because Billy likes like more intimate murder. And it's Stu who guts the boyfriend, because we would find out in the fountain scene, like after this, Stu basically like the fountain scene is the ultimate clue when you go back and watch this movie. It's the ultimate clue who the killers are.
So this is what's interesting. Continuing of that trivia thing that I was reading, the idea there of having two killers. You have to go back and rewatch it to see what you can pick up on. And there's multiple times where, to the point, like when you then get into it and compare and contrast what their reasonings are, right? Like Billy has an actual reason for what he's doing. He wants revenge on Sidney, and it's a warped psychological thing that happened because of what happened in his family. Whereas Stu quite literally is like, I'm just going to blame peer pressure. and so
peer pressure, I'm easily manipulated.
So when you look at it, like there's multiple times where Billy is communicating to Stu just with his eyes or facial expressions, and Stu is either giving something away or needs to get a piece of information, but Billy's telling him this without, like, because Billy's the actual smart one here. Stu's kind of a dumbass. But he's honestly, he's one of the best characters in this whole movie. Spoiler alert. And apparently the sometimes you think about like the genius of different actors and actresses, and Quentin Tarantino said what he said about Matthew Lillard, but Matthew Lillard ad-libbed the "my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me" line. Like he just came up with that in the spot, and Wes Craven's like, that's genius.
He's so good. Like the fountain scene, like I said, if you go back and watch this, it gives away everything, because he basically describes how to gut somebody. Then he's also very adamant about it takes a man to lift somebody, because he's the one that he doesn't kill Casey Becker. He's the one that puts her up into the tree and hangs her from the tree. So he's like describing like it takes a man to lift her up, so it had to be a man who's the killer. And then when Randy kind of turns that back on him and it's like, you were her ex-boyfriend, and you have motive, so as the police like question you, and Stu's like, I didn't kill anybody, and then Billy immediately says, no one said you did, buddy, and he gives it all away with his eyes, and he's like, thanks, buddy.
That's Billy Loomis's character is so well done, and the thing is, like, it fits so much of those late 80s early 90s tropes of like just the haircut, the hair down in the eyes, the clothing style, the choices, all that stuff. So then apparently he thought like it was going to be a serious horror movie. And then he sees Jamie Kennedy and Matthew Lillard kind of like hamming it up a little bit. And he's like, don't they know we're supposed to be doing this seriously? And then Wes Craven pulls him aside and is like, it's not that. It's not that,
brother. It's not that, brother. But even like the comedic side of like how obvious Billy is, because the first scene we see him when they introduce Sidney and he sneaks into our room, he literally describes being turned on by The Exorcist. I was like, he's definitely a psychopath. Like even the first time I watched this,
There's
I was like,
something wrong
he's
up
weird.
there.
He's something wrong with him there.
Yeah, and a lot of what I think another thing that they did very well was different levels of setup, foreshadowing, payoff. Like the idea that we see, to your point, in that scene specifically, Sidney being able to block her dad from coming into the room with the door to the closet, that later is paid off with her using that to be able to survive Ghostface. Like it's so many different little things. And Wes Craven, again, like with the amount of experience he has in horror movies, like he was able to just be like, okay, we shoot it from this angle, we do this sort of thing. And it just adds such a layer to the movie. And the writer also, same writer who wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer. So there's a lot of experience that came into the making of Scream.
Love the little Easter eggs with a very non-important character, but he's one of the bigger names on the cast. Henry Winkler as the principal Arthur Hembry. Good shout out to Fonzie within the name Arthur Fonzarelli, Principal Arthur Hembry. And then also when after he basically punishes the kids who were dressed up as Ghostface and trying to scare everybody in the school, we see in his closet he has leather jackets. He has a whole bunch of leather jackets.
One of the funniest parts is like those kids are running through the hallway wearing a Ghostface mask. Like, yes, terrible. Should not be doing that. What does he say? He's like, we're gonna expel you. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I mean, like suspension, I get. Detention, absolutely. Expulsion. Sir, I mean, this seems like it's a one street light town. I don't know how many other high schools are. Where are these kids gonna go?
He wasn't thinking about that. He's thinking about.
He's like, we're gonna.
I was like, damn, he's going ham out here. The other cool scene is the first time Ghostface goes to Sidney's house, and it's Stu. It's definitely Stu because there's a couple of different signs that is Stu. One, if you run it back and you do it in slow motion, you can hear his voice. You can hear his voice as they're running up the stairs. It's obviously Stu. So he's the one that tries to kill her in the house, and like you said, with the door blocking it, and then Billy comes up through the window and Sidney hugs him, and then they do that close-up on him where he looks like he is the killer. Like they do the close-up, and I read some like research on it that the director definitely did this intentionally, where he always wanted to make Billy look like the killer so much that the audience would be like, oh, he's definitely not the killer.
Not the killer. Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of the choices just really so good, and the way Sidney like eventually pieces it together, like when she's like, who did you call? And she's like, no, like the sheriff called your dad, and he's just like, yeah, well, I didn't get an answer the first time. Like, but like the quick thinking on his part, right? Like the idea of being like, you gotta be able to come up with something believable, say it in the moment. Like that is credit to Billy for being able to pull that off.
Yeah, and then also the whole like, and there's always like been the question, I don't think Wes Craven's ever answered this, is if they wanted to intentionally get Billy arrested because then they can exonerate him by Stu calling Sidney while he's in the prison. So that's one question that I don't think he's ever kind of answered there. But another clue to it was Stu in Sidney's house is when the next time we see Stu at the school, he's at Tatum's locker and he's checking himself in the mirror to make sure he doesn't have any bruises on his face. I was like, that is a cool touch right there.
Like, and you know, like the other thing that they did, like very subtle, is the sheriff is wearing the same boots.
Yes.
It's like how they came up with ways to be like, and the thing is like, you're thinking to yourself, why are they panning down and showing the sheriff's boots when he's standing out there with a cigarette and Dewey's got the ice cream? And it's like, oh, like it seems so innocent at first because it's like, but then you think about like, why? There's got to be a reason why. And then you keep seeing the boots, you're like, oh, there's got to be something here.
Yeah. So good. It's so good. The other note I had is that Wes Craven is in the movie. He's really? First, he's one of the Ghostface. He's the Ghostface that scares Casey at the window and she hits him over the head with the phone. Okay. And then he's the janitor at the school who wears the Freddy costume.
With the Freddy. Okay, so I didn't know that. I didn't know that was actually Wes Craven, but the
Yeah.
Freddy shout out, like I'm like, as soon as I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
a little obvious.
That's him. That's him.
It's a little fun on the nose.
Then the video store scene with Randy and Stu, when basically Billy, when he's pointing the finger at Billy and everything, like, why are you in the horror section when you're wanted for murder?
Yeah.
and then they basically have him like surrounded, and they're questioning him like, wouldn't you be a suspect? He's like, of course I would be a suspect. Well, they said, what's your motive? And he was like, it's the 90s, motives are incidental, and that's basically giving away Stu's motive. It's no reason why Stu's involved in all of this.
So I saw something one thing that I really liked about that movie store scene is that it Scream, while talking about the rules of horror movies, also created its own set of rules for Scream itself. And there's always a character that will accuse a character, and that character was right. The entire Jamie Kennedy, he's right both times.
Randy, yes, Randy's always right
both times. And then the other thing that I saw that was really cool was the idea, like sort of like the headcanon, that we see Billy talking to other girls, right?
Yeah. And
then we find out later that Sam is like a daughter out of wedlock. And so like, it's not like, not saying like, obviously like that wasn't planned for 20 years later, 20, 30, but like the idea of just like, maybe they went back, were watching it, and they were like, there's something there. Pull on that thread, see what happens. Like, I thought that was a really cool thing too.
Yeah, that was a nice touch as well. So then we get to the party scene, which is kind of the climactic of this whole thing. So we got to bring up the rules from Randy, because Randy is the one who tells them the rules. So rule number 1 is you can never have sex. Rule number 2, you can never drink or do drugs. And rule number 3, you can never say, I'll be right back. Which all 3 of our survivors break these rules, because it's basically an inverse of them telling us the rules. It's basically to tell us that all the people that will survive are gonna basically betray one of these rules. You have Sidney, who has sex with Billy upstairs. You got Randy, who drinks at the party. And then you have Gale, who tells her cameraman, Kenny, who gets slit his throat later on in the movie. She tells him, I'll be right back, when she goes off with Dewey.
Yeah. It's again, like I'm saying, like they establish their own rules while talking about the rules of horror movies, but then lampshading them by being like, it doesn't have to be that way. You can still create compelling horror or compelling scary moments without having to follow all of these rules. I think it's smart. I think it's really smart.
Yeah. So I would say the most brutal murder of the whole entire movie is Tatum's murder in the garage, where basically what I learned from doing my research is they taped Rose McGowan's top to the trapdoor.
Because she was so small that she was actually fitting through the pet door and like falling out. So they were like, okay, this is what's going on here. What do we got?
Yeah, so they tape her top, that whole scene, and that's the only scene where freaking Ghostface is called Ghostface, because she's like, what are you gonna do to me, Mr. Ghostface? Because she thinks it's Randy, but of course it's not. It's I did also learn that is Stu. That's Stu that murders her, because I was always questioning why Stu would send her. Like, I thought that it was kind of like a setup where Billy was gonna win the one.
I thought that was Billy.
No, it's Stu, because that's why Stu isn't surprised when he learns that Tatum is murdered. He's the one that does it.
But see, now this is interesting, because my interpretation of it was when Billy shows up randomly, like at the front door, he looks over at Stu and like gives him like this like eyebrow flashing thing, like, you know, like it's done kind of thing. So that's I always thought that was Billy that killed her.
I mean, we might have to do more research, and maybe on Scream 2 we'll get confirmation who it was, because I've heard one story where and then that's what I also believed the first time I watched it, until I saw another video that said that it was actually Stu who did it. But like I said, then you got the chase after Billy and Sidney. they have sex. You have the Ghostface that comes in and fake stabs Billy, and then you get the chase in Stu's house, which also gives you clues that Stu is the killer because he knows shortcuts around the house. Then when she's running through the attic, we see all the dolls that are hung just like Casey Becker. Like he was practicing in his acting. It's so good. It's so good. It's like, see, when you get these like little Easter eggs that they give us, it was like they gave away who the killer was multiple times throughout the movie.
Yeah, and that chase scene is fun for so many different reasons because you're looking, because the thing is, I'm watching this. I was watching it, last night, the day before we did this review, and the hilarity of this is that I know how the movie ends. And then repeatedly, while I'm watching it, I'm like, how is she going to get out of this? I'm like, how does she survive? It's like my brain's like, she does. So she's gonna, but how? I'm like, how is she going to do this? And then
I do that in every one of these movies too.
When she gets when Sidney gets pushed and is falling backwards, I'm like, wait a minute, how does she survive? And then she hits the back of that boat, and I'm like, oh, thank God that boat was there, because I don't know how we got Scream 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We wouldn't have got it either if it wasn't for that boat.
Wait a minute.
Another cool tidbit was Randy when he's watching the movie and he's watching Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, and he says, "Look out, Jamie." And of course, his real name is Jamie Kennedy, and the killer is right behind him. That was cool. And then the last little note that I had right before the climactic scene when Sidney finds out that it's Billy and Stu is when they're outside and Sidney's trying to determine who she can trust between Randy and Stu. Randy is the one who's freaking out over Tatum being murdered, while Stu is just trying to exonerate himself in comparison to Randy. I was like, that should be the clue to Sidney who she should trust.
That is one of the funnier things, because you can just imagine like the fear in Randy banging on the door, looking to his right, like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And you know what I think is, modern movies, they would cut to that outside shot. They would cut to the outside shot. Whereas with sticking with Sidney, it feels more desperate. And so the thing is, you're expecting, because you at this time, you don't know which one is the killer. You're expecting suddenly the noise to stop, and then Sidney to open the door, and then we find that's a reveal. And so it's just how do they pulling all this off? It's fascinating, what the choices were, how they're going to present this. Really great.
And even the stuff early on in the movie, like Billy going into Sidney's room in the first scene we see her, it's just him distracting her so Stu could kidnap the dad. And now we get that reveal at the end that they kidnapped the dad, and they're going to basically plant all the evidence on him, and they're going to be the survivors, and then they can be a part of the sequel. They'll be a part of writing the sequel, and their love for the scary movies is hilarious. I can't watch that scene without laughing because it reminds me too much of Scary Movie and the scene of Ray and Obi, and he's their gay lovers.
One of my favorite parts of the entire movie, though, is the is them with the camera guy and realizing there's a 30-second delay.
Yeah,
because you in your mind, you're like, don't open the door, don't open the door, don't open the door. They open the door, nothing. They're like, wait a minute, okay, so it's fine. They look back, they turn back. Oh shit! So you didn't think to close the door?
I'd have been like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm closing it automatically. Oh man, so good. I love the final couple of scenes with Sidney is the one who kills Stu after they get into a tussle. I'm like, Sidney's tough as hell because she fought off big ass Stu and then drops the TV. And it's great because it was a scary movie on the TV. So the guy who was obsessed with scary movies dies because of a scary movie when the TV falls on his face. And then of course, Billy had been faking after he got stabbed with the the umbrella and he gets up and he's about to get her. I love the line by Randy who says, he's like, and when he finally wakes up after getting shot by Billy, he's like, yeah, I'm okay. Thank God I'm a virgin. I laughed out loud. I laughed out loud. I was like, that is so good.
And it's so fun. It's so funny because it's like what happened was I watched Scream yesterday and I was like, might as well just get a head jump and let me watch the second one. So I watched the second one like right after. He's so good in the second one. And then while I'm watching these two, I'm thinking to myself about the twins in 5 and 6, and I'm like,
yeah,
genius to make them just continue, like that's the family lineage.
Yes. yes. Oh man, so good. Randy's up there for me. So yeah, we come to the end of the movie. The four survivors is Gale, who almost got into the car crash, but of course she comes back at the end. She forgets the safety, but didn't forget it the second time after they told her. Then you have Randy, who survives after the gunshot. Sidney, who survives it all and does the death blow to Billy at the end, shooting him in the head. It's like Randy warns her. He's like, "Remember, there's a jump scare." She's like, "Not my movie." Shoots him right in the head. Great final line by her. She's the ultimate final girl. Like I know Jamie Lee Curtis is great in Halloween and all that, but I don't think there's any better final girl than Sidney Prescott. She's the GOAT for me. There's Gale, Sidney, Randy, and Dewey. The fact that Dewey survives a freaking knife to the back is ridiculous. This would just start the trend of ridiculousness that Dewey survives in each and every one of these movies.
Yeah, like to the point that when it's finally played straight, you're like, wait, no, he'll be all right. You're just like, and then they're like, no, it's like narrator, he would not be all right. It's like, oh shit.
Oh man, I still think that they should have just done it again. They should have just done it again. All right, so we come to the end here. So who was your MVP for Scream 1 out of all the characters?
Ooh, MVP for Scream 1. I think it's got to be Sidney. I think it's tough for me to have a person besides Sidney. I think my only other option, like close second, is Randy, because he's on the bunny the entire time and nobody wants to believe him. Nope. What did he do? What did he do to deserve this?
I put an MVP for characters and then I put an MVP for actors.
Okay.
The MVP as characters was Sidney. Actors, it's Matthew Lillard as Stu. Just the craze insanity
I might go for Skeet Ulrich as Billy.
That's fair.
I might go for Skeet Ulrich as Billy, just because of his way of coming across both as insane, but like
charming,
insane enough to kill, and like that charming aspect. Yeah, it is great. But then I will say, to your point about Matthew Lillard, is like once the reveal happens, it's Matthew Lillard's movie.
No, there's even small stuff like when they're walking out to school when classes gets canceled, you can see him in the background. They're focused on Tatum and Cindy, and you can see him in the background jumping over bushes and jumping. He just hams it up the entire time, like his physical performance in this movie, and then all the bumps that he takes as Ghostface, like it's just masterful work. I love Matthew Lillard in this movie. LVP, I only did LVP for characters. It's Sidney's dad by far.
Like nothing. He doesn't do anything. He's just like, I'm gonna be at the Hilton, flying out. You're gonna be safe. I'll see you later.
And then we never see him again. Then we never see him again in any of these other movies. We never see him again. He's like, I'm staying away from my daughter after that.
Yeah. The other thing I will say is, like, watching this, you have to have a level of appreciation even though I don't really watch a lot of them, I have to have some level of appreciation for modern horror movies because there's so many things in this movie and Scream 2 and even, Scream 3 where it's like so much of the suspense factor is removed simply by modern technology.
Yeah.
Like it's modern technology's ability to save people from themselves, like Ring cameras alone. Like, okay, well, you want to sneak on my house? Okay, well, first you got to like cut the Wi-Fi, then you got to like do all this stuff, and like to the point of in real world news, Savannah Guthrie's mother being kidnapped. The Ring camera was down, but it was still able to say there's a shape outside of the house. A human-sized shape outside of the house. So like you watching Scream, you're thinking to yourself, why don't they just do this? But then you're like, oh, I have the benefit of modern technology. LVP, the dad's just like, nobody's coming to check on you or anything like that. Like you're an underage teenager. I didn't arrange like any of the local moms or dads or neighborhood watch, nothing. You live in a relatively like secluded area kind of thing. I'm on the flight. Catch you later.
He's just staying at the Hilton by the airport. That's what I'm gonna give you. Bye.
I think my LVP, as much as I would want to give it to the dad, I sort like a part of me wants to, because I know it's intentional. I don't want to give it to Dewey, but I'm like, Dewey, like there's only so much good that you do in this movie, and actually there's a lot of harm that you do in this movie.
Inviting Gale so she could videotape the party,
and then like he's like there's a killer on the loose who's killed like 3 people at this point. Do you want to walk with me because there's a nice moonlight? I'm like, sir, what are we doing here?
He had to put his Riz up. He had to Riz Gale here.
And it's so because they get married in real life and in the movie. I'm like, this is like, come on. But sorry,
my best characters, I got Stu, Sidney, and Randy. Those are the best characters for me.
Stu, Sidney, Randy. I mean, like the Billy Loomis aspect. Like I love that character and the way it's portrayed, and like just that embodiment of 90s kind of misfit bad boy stereotypes. Like it's a beautiful character for me. But obviously those 4 are great.
All right, and final grade out of 10. Of course, we're giving this a thumbs up, right? Yeah, we're giving this a thumbs up across the board. Out of 10, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's so tough to really have like what would be the nitpick or what would be the critique, because even for somebody like me who wants stories to get in, do what you got to do, and get out, it's so short. It's a short movie that gets everything done. It's so tough to give it, like, I know there's missteps. It's just like you would need to have like such a critical eye to really attribute anything to it. But yeah, 9 out of 10 feels absolutely right.
So that is our review of Scream 1996, Scream 1. We're going to be back with you guys to review Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, Scream 5, Scream 6, and then, of course, February 27th, Scream 7 comes out in theaters. I'm going to try my best to go to the theater out here and see it. I know StatKing already told us his plans to see it with the missus, but StatKing, let the people know where they can follow you on social media and when they might see you again.
You guys are going to catch me here, as always, with True Picks, but now that the NFL is going into the offseason, we transition to True Offseason, where but Chase and I talk about everything that's happening in the NFL when it comes to all the different offseason moves, all of the coach hirings, the free agency. You think that NFL is over, but it's February 10th, and on February 23rd, the NFL Combine, the Underwear Olympics starts. So, like, the grind never stops if you're interested in the NFL. Chase and I are also going to be starting a review series of The Pit, and we will be doing a season 1 recap, and then we will be going episode by episode for season 2, and then I promised that I'm going to do this, so I gotta figure out how to, like, when I'm going to lock in and take care of it. But I'm going to be doing a review of the Copenhagen test, which has Simu Liu and Scream 5 and 6's Melissa Barrera in it, and that was a great 8-episode series on Peacock. So watch it if you haven't, and then we'll be doing the review, and you can tag along for that.
Sounds good to me. I will be back with you guys for True Heel Heat Check, talking all things NBA. We're doing a special All-Star Weekend preview coming up this week, so be on the lookout for that. I also got our Wonder Man review that we had on the channel. You can check out right now, and check out the last edition of True Heel Heat Check, talking all about the NBA trade deadline. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I was at my I messaged you and Josh at one point. I was at my men's club at my church meeting, and when I walked in, it was because it was right around the NBA trade deadline. So many of the guys there were just kind of complaining about paying for like team specific streaming services and things like that, and they're like, and the Bulls sold everybody. And me not knowing anything, I'm like, so who's on the team now? Because like I know like a couple of the big names, and they're like, all they did was just get guards. I said, well,
yes,
that's one way to do it.
A lot of guards on the Bulls now. But me and StatKing will be back to review the rest of the Scream series, so be on the lookout for that. For StatKing, it is me, your trio phenom SP3, and this has been our review of Scream 1. We are signing off until